Good morning, happy Monday to all of you beautiful people out there. I'm shooting this late tonight on Sunday night. I was having my heart destroyed and ripped out from the Daytona 500 because Joey Logano doesn't know how to drive a race car going 200 miles an hour down the back straightaway. Okay, and decided to just be a complete beep and wreck the entire field and took my guy Kyle Busch out. So I had to vent. I had to take a walk. I had to do a couple things, but we're here. We're rocking and rolling. Napier moved quicker than Joey Logano did and didn't take anybody out in the process and replaced the departure of Will Harris like that. Thursday night, we're in shambles, and here we are. What is it? Friday, 3 days later, we're back in business. It's like it never even happened. So thank goodness for Billy moving quickly, because I don't know if I could have gone another 7 days without this replacement. With the quick movement of this, does lead me to believe that this entire situation was broken up well before Thursday. I don't have any confirmation. Look, boys, y'all, I tell you all the time, I come from a very neutral perspective on this, a neutral place, but we've seen Billy. My man doesn't really wake up and just hit the ground running, okay? He's not Daytona 100 speed, okay? He's like Bristol speed. He's just kind of rolling, all right? So enough with the NASCAR words there. We'll keep it rolling here. Darren Wilson joins the staff, which Cody and I spoke about a few potential targets on the Gators' radar, and we did mention Darren Wilson on Saturday night show. So if you were watching and hanging out with us, you kind of already would have had a feel and a little bit of an understanding of what Florida could be landing. Now, let's break it all down. Let's talk about it. What are we getting with Darren Wilson? And then I'm going to play a clip and then also get some good feedback from an opposing, or not opposing, another coach / legendary player, which what I love about this, and as I'm talking about it, it reminds me of the two guys that were brought in last time with Chapman and Will Harris. Both had a lot of great co-signees from other coaches / players when being brought in. Up and coming guy, it feels like young in the coaching atmosphere. Was a coach at the Gators already back in 2020, I believe. Let me double check here on that. Yeah, it's a quality control, 2022, excuse me. Quality control and cornerbacks, then went to Arkansas to be a secondary coach, a DB coach, and while his time was there, ranked third in interceptions and third interception and fourth in the SEC and FPS yards per game at 202. Not a lot of flash, not a lot of sexiness, but what it does appear to be like is did a lot with very little at Arkansas. Arkansas isn't knocking anybody's boots off with top tier talent. So Mr. Wilson here is working with very little talent, if you will, and is now coming into a scenario and a situation with a ton of experience. And of course, the understanding that he will be the DB's coach, there will be a safeties coach, and Ron Roberts is in charge. That's not a shot. That's just simply going back to what we spoke about. And it also doubles down on what we talked about with Mr. Stephen Harris on Friday of the expectation that he wants a DB coach and a safeties coach. And again, what I love is that it is doubling down on the story, confirming that, hey, there was definitely a miscommunication and what was the expectation. And of course, we all know that Will came in to do both roles and essentially was taken of that. And how you want to look at that, that's on you. That's fine. But communication was made, and here we are now with Mr. Darren Wilson. So he was recently promoted. He was going to be the DC of Georgia Southern or Georgia State, I believe. So kind of similar to the Vinny situation where Coach Vinny was coming in. He was about to go be a DC at a smaller school. I don't remember the school now off the top of my Jacksonville State, maybe. I feel like it was that. So both of these coaches coming in, although it wasn't going to be big DC roles, were given the opportunity and basically being looked at as up-and-coming coaches to coach at a big time or in a bigger role with more responsibilities. So like the mindset kind of guys that were coming in. And I want to play a clip for you of him, and we'll talk about this clip. And I've talked about this before, this kind of mentality. I've talked about with Anthony Richardson. Talked about with a few quarterbacks definitely in the league right now that have been able to get away with a few things because of this. Take a listen to this clip. This is when he was at Arkansas, and then we'll go from there.
We talk about in the defensive back room having a PhD in football, right? When you think about elite players, they're just not playing off ability. They're playing off of ability and football IQ. When you get a PhD in football, right, that means you'll be in the NFL for 6+ years. just off of I understand when two go in, what one gonna do. When two go out, what one gonna do. When it comes down to reading concepts, when it's talking about man coverage, come down to ability, the stems of receiver, and you see it on film. And I know we're heading in the right direction when we talk about a PhD in football. When I see something a third time and I come back and I'm about to walk up to them and talk to them. I'll be about to walk up and they say exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, all right, we're heading in the right direction. We definitely climbing and we trending upwards.
Okay. Love that mindset. I think that PhD mindset is massive. And I've talked about those with a few players, and you'll see it in college and team NFL. Guys make it through college based on their just God-given abilities and their athletic abilities, and necessarily don't have to study the other parts of the game. And the ones that have long-term success do have that PhD in football, whether it's whatever position that they're playing. So like the fact, and again, I think that's what's been elevated that secondary room in the Arkansas room, is because they may have not had the God-given ability, but they were able to have that PhD, which allowed them to elevate their game. Now, you still need sometimes that ability, and there is guys on the other side of the ball that just, especially playing in the SEC, that doesn't matter how strong your PhD level is, if you just got that absolute dog in you, you can outbeat PhD from time to time. But if everyone's functioning on that kind of that a bigger level, and then on top of that have just a natural skill and ability, that excites me a lot. Really, I'll talk with Cody. I know he loves doing breakdowns of particular targets. Obviously got really invested and honed in on Will Harris, and we saw kind of the trend and type of cornerback that Will Harris went after. I'm excited to see what he goes after. Now, Antonio Cromartie was in a space earlier today. Shout out to Mr. Nobody. I know we always kind of give him some flack, but he's always in the space because he doesn't like to do anything with his life, and was able to inform us in our Discord about a few things that he said during this space, him being Antonio Cromartie, and spoke about Mr. Darren Wilson here and kind of complimented him. He said, look, this guy's a film junkie and a phenomenal recruiter. And even I kind of hopped into the spaces after I saw that and talked about recruiting. And it was interesting because he's like, look, man, it's not about money or the things that you hear. It's about relationships. These guys want to be told the truth. They want to be taken care of. And it's not as hard as people make it seem out to be. So kind of cool hearing somebody, again, an 11-year vet who's kind of coached the game as well. And he even spoke about, he goes, look, I'm if Billy wants me and calls me, I will come and help this team. I will be a part of the staff in some kind of sense. I talk about maybe even visiting camps more so. Just, he goes, he will be a fly on the wall and give as much help and information as he can. So what that leads me to believe two different things I liked about this. One, you've got guys, obviously they have a lot of experience in the game, loving what they're seeing, what Florida is doing, wanting to be a part of that and wanting to grow with it. That's kind of the vibe that I get. And secondly, going back to the Chapman and Harris hire, again, having a lot of co-signees when they were brought on from other coaches and players around the league that people kind of took as what they will. But this excites me because, again, when you look at this hire, I think it was nice to see Gator Twitter kind of in a more of a optimistic outlook. There wasn't as much negative outlook. I think there's a lot of people saying I like it. I like the fact that it was fast. I like the fact that there's SEC experience. I like the fact that there is momentum. There, again, you look at the numbers. They're not the sexiest numbers, but there is things you can pull out that excite you, which we talked about here on this show. And so you don't quite know what to feel like, but let's kind of swing it back here, right? We're all in this conversation because we lost Will Harris, who a year ago when brought on, we were in this same boat. And we trusted Billy Napier evaluation, brought him in, and Will Harris ended up being the hottest thing since sliced bread. Miami's already won the national championship again with adding Mr. Harris to their addition of their staff. Oh, goodness gracious. So all good things there. I think it feels like it's a big move. You still got to get on this field. You still got to, coach plays and do all those things. So a lot to go. We're not going to jump to conclusions just yet, but it feels good. And I think most importantly, we can put it behind us and at the right time. And it feels like he's more than likely already been there as before this thing even broke. And shout out to Silk from Stadium Miguel, my man, breaking the news once again before anybody. He let it out saying that it will be happening soon, and then everybody jumped on board very, very quickly afterwards. So it's been fun to watch this battle of who's going to break the news first, and it's been good to watch. But all in all, I shot it here on Sunday. Figured you guys can wake up on Monday morning and watch this if you guys are ready to rock and roll with the crack of dawn. Have yourselves a fantastic Monday. You know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe. See you guys later tonight live at 8:05 with, of course, the man, the champ, 2006 national champion, Stephen Harris for Champs Corner. Guys working overtime. The guys work Monday, Friday, and then again Monday. Maybe he won't talk to us. I don't know. He's off flying to Colorado to beat somebody up. We'll talk about that on Monday too. Y'all smash the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.